Om Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarvabhignopashantaye Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Yenakshara Samamnayam Adhigamya Maheshwarat Kritsnam Vyakaranam Proktam Tasmai Paninaye Namaha Vakyakaram Vararuchim Bhashyakaram Patanjalim Paninim Sutrakarancha Pranatosmi Munitrayam Vagarthaviva Samprikto Vagarthav Pratipattaye Jagatah Pitaro Vande Parvati Parameshwarao Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Namaste everyone, welcome. So on our screen, we have starting with our feminine pronouns. So you'll see we did in our last class, we did tad and yad. So we can pick up from there and then continue on to what we haven't learned yet. So let's look at tad first in feminine. So we can chant this together. I'll go a little bit slower so you can beat me to it. Okay. So we'll start with 1-1. So this is Sarvanama Pratipadikam Tad Strilinga. Okay, so Sa Te Taha Tam Te Taha Taya Tabhyam Tabhi Tasyai Tabhyam Tabhyah Tasyaha Tabhyam Tabhyah. Sixth case. Tasyaha Tayoho. Then 6-3. Tasam. That one's always tricky. Tasam. Then 7-1. Tasyam. Tayoho. Tasu. Okay, so we'll get another chance with this. We can go to Yad Shabda. Okay, so think of our Sarva. It's very similar to Sarva, right? Both are very similar to Sarva. So we have Sa, or sorry, Yad Shabda. Ya, Ye, Yaha. Yam, Ye, Yaha. Yaya, Yabhyam, Yabihi. 4-1. Yasyai, Yabhyam, Yabhyah. Fifth case. Yasyaha, Yabhyam, Yabhyah. Sixth case. Yasyaha, Yayoho, and Yasam. 7-1. Yasyam, Yayoho, Yasu. And there's no sambodhana, so you don't call out. Okay, so hope this is okay. Does anybody have any questions with these ones? There was also some exercise in the back of the book. So if you have any questions, you can let me know in the chat and we can look at those. But first, I wanted to just look at, we're going to shift to etad in Kim, just because it's so similar to this. And then we can look at some exercises if anyone has any questions. Okay. So I'll just share on this. Okay, so yeah, let's start here. So this is page in your book. This is page 113, 113. So 113, you see etad in strilinga. Right? Etad in strilinga. So this is exactly like what we were seeing as sarva. This is exactly, basically the same as tad shabda. You just add one a in front of it. Okay? When you add that a, then you get murdhanyatvam. Your sa become sha. And we're going to talk about murdhanyatvam hopefully today if we get some time. It makes it into the retroflex. Your tongue should go up. Esha. Esha. Okay? Shanmuksha. So, tad means that. Something far away. Something paroksha. Something far away. Now, etad means something closer. Right? So, this computer, this desk, etc. So, let's look at 1-1. You can repeat the first line after me. Esha, then ete, etaha. Esha, ete, etaha. Second case, etam, ete, etaha. Third case, etaya, etabhyam, etabhihi. Fourth case, etasyai, etabhyam, etabhyah. Fifth case, etasyaha, etabhyam. Sorry, fifth case, right? Yeah, fifth case. Etasyaha, etabhyam, etabhyah.
Is it etasyaha or etasyaha?
Etasyaha. So long, yeah, long. Etasyaha. Etasyaha, etabhyam, etabhyah.
It should be etasyaha because the visarga takes the previous
Sound.
thing. Yeah, not ha but ha. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's what. Yeah, that's correct. Then sixth case, etasyaha. So it's not usually as long. The visarga doesn't take as long as the dirgha there. So it's etasyaha. Yeah. So that's fine if you say etasyaha, but both are fine. Etayoho, etasam. There's no real rule with that. That's why I'm putting that up. But yeah, etasyaha, etayoho, etasam. Then seventh case, etasyam, etayoho, etasu. So here, this is not feminine and always, right? You don't get that shu, you get the su. It's a little softer in the feminine. So that's always something to point out. So this seventh case for me is always the hardest, etasyam, because it sounds so similar to 6-3. So depends. I think people have different difficulties, but I just wanted to really point out that 6-3 etasam Then etasyam. It sounds so similar. Okay, so we'll go to kim. Kim is also very similar to this. Kim means what, right? So it's this interrogative, it's this question word, which gets different flavors or gets different meanings depending on what case it's in, right? And what it's qualifying. So we're going to see some examples if we do some of the exercise. But we've seen kim in both masculine and neuter. So this is not anything new. Okay, okay. So let's do this one together since we did that previous one. So ka, ke, ka, ha. Kam, ke, ka, ha. Kaya, kabhyam, kabhihi. Fourth case, kasyai, kabhyam, kabhyah. Fifth case, kasyaha, kabhyam, kabhyah. Sixth case, kasyaha, kayoho, kasam. Then 7-1, kasyam, kayoho, kasu. Okay? Feeling okay with that? You can let me know in the chat. So if we were to look at, I think there's a question about this exercise. This is exercise number 29. This is in the back of your book, page 181. So you can keep one hand where etad kim is and go to, this is page 181 in the back of the book, 181. Exercise number 29. So I won't do all of them. If there's any particular questions, we can look at them. How about let's start with, we'll do all the even numbers. Yeah. Starting with, we'll do 10 to 18 even numbers, and then we can, any other ones that people have any questions, okay? So I'm not gonna write it out just because it'll take a long time. So we can kind of do it together and go through it in our heads. Okay, so one thing in number 10 is we see the word namaha, right? You see namaha. Now, namaha is not a verb, but it kind of acts like a verb. We can always add bhavati. We can always add bhavati just to make, because we always need a verb. But namaha is a funny, it's an avyaya. It does not decline. And it means salutations, which is an act, right? But it has its own kind of thing going on with namaha. When we see namaha, namaha always gives fourth case. So chaturthi vibhakti. So who are you prostrating to? Who are you saluting to? That is given in the fourth case. So whenever we see that namaha, you always want to connect that with the fourth case. Fourth case is the recipient of action, right? Sampradane, usually, right? So that makes sense that namaha is connected to that. So we see devatayai namaha. Right? So my salutations or salutations, we don't necessarily, we don't know my, but there's salutations to devata, to one devata, right? Devata is feminine, so 4-1. And then we can add tad, etad, kim. So let's add all three just for our sakes of practice. So what's 4-1? Tasyai, right? yad would be yasyai, etad, etasyai, and kim, kasyai. Okay, so tad, so tasyai, so salutations to that devata, that Dakshinamurti, that devata in the temple. Yasyai, so that's yad shabda, salutations to which devata? Which devata that we've talked about earlier? Yeah, there's a question.
Yes. Can I ask a question, sir?
Yes, please.
You said one devata. We are talking about devata bhyam.
I'm doing number 10.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
no worries. Number 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So then etasyai, so salutations to this devata in my home temple, right? And then kasyai, so salutations to which devata? There's so many devatas. Which devata are you talking about? Salutations to which devata? Or to what devata? What is what? I think there's a question. So notice how yad can be which and kim can be which, but it's whether you mean it as a question or you're talking about it as that devata, which we've already talked about. Yeah, or no information about. Okay, so number 12. Swasti prajabhyah no, so prajabhyah swasti. Right? Swasti is just like namaha. It's one of those words which just whatever the recipient is gets the fourth case. Okay? So swasti means auspiciousness or well-being. Right? So let's just say well-being, just for ease sake. So well-being for who? For prajabhyah. Prajabhyah means there's people, right? The people, praja. So to many people, right? It's plural. So well-being for many people, and then tad, what is it? Tabhyah, yad, yabhyah, etad, etabhyah, and kim, kabhyah. Okay, so well-being to those people, well-being for which people, well-being for these people, and well-being for what people? So there's a question, if the fourth vibhakti is recipient, what is the difference between object, karma, which is the second case, and the fourth, which is sampradana, the recipient? So one example I can give is, right, Rama gives the rice to Devadatta or Lakshmana. Let's just say Rama gives rice to Lakshmana. Okay, so Rama gives. So Rama is the doer, be first case, gives. And what is the object of giving? He gives rice. So rice is the second case. And who is the recipient? Who gets the rice? Lakshmana. So he'd be in the fourth case. So there's a slight difference between what the object, it's not always the same as the recipient. So there is a slight difference. So I would go back to the place where it talks about karma versus sampradane. That's earlier in the book. I'm not sure exactly what page. but there's a whole thorough review between the difference between the two there. Okay, so we're going to look at 14. Blank kriyayaha prayojanam kim. Prayojanam kim. Okay. Okay, again, these don't, now we're in sort of advanced, they just don't even give us a verb anymore. But there's always a verb implied, right? So we can add a bhavati or asti, right? We always need a 1-1 and we need a verb. Now, neither of those are there. Well, prayojanam could be a 1-1, could be 2-1, but whatever it is, you always need to supply, right? So bhavati, we're going to add a bhavati. Okay, so prayojanam kim. So kim means, right, what? What is the prayojanam? So prayojana, I believe, is the second case. I think that's a neuter word. We have to check up on that. I'm not exactly 100% sure with that. We can check up on that, but it makes sense that it would be the second case, right? What is the prayojana, the reason, or what is the reason? And then of the kriyayaha. Kriya, right, is action. So kriyayaha, reason for the actions, or action, sorry, it's only one, right? Reason for the action. And then the tad would be, what's tad 6-1? Tasyaha, right? Then just keep going all across the board. Yasyaha, etasyaha, kasyaha. Okay. So what is the reason for that action? For which action? For this action? For what action? What is the reason for what action? That's a bit funny, sentence. Okay, number 5, we're just gonna go back. Someone asked about number 5. So, because I'm just picking random ones right now, we might as well do ones that you actually have difficult with. Oh, so let's look at number 1. Someone asked about number 1. Devata namyate, right? Pick up the verb, namyate. Do you see something particular about it? Yeah, this is nam dhatu. Nam dhatu is 1p. Lat lakara. You see ya and atmane. So karmani prayoga, right? Karmani prayoga. Passive voice. Prathama purusha ekavachana. Okay, so something is saluted. Something is saluted. What is saluted? Devata namyate. So devata is the karmani prathama to namyate. Now, I'm not doing the whole steps, so hopefully you're following along. But this is karmani prathama to namyate. It's the first case in the sense of object of the salutation, right? So what is saluted? Devata is saluted. And then we say sa, ya, esha, ka, ta, sa, ya, esha, ka, right? So that devata is saluted, that which devata is saluted, This devata saluted. What devata saluted? Okay, number 5. We look at number 5. Upame dishyati. Okay, so dish dhatu, if I'm correct, it means to teach, right? Dish 1p, to teach. This is lat lakaraha, kartri prayoga, pratama purusha, ekavachana. Okay, so someone teaches. Now we don't know who, right? So we can give a guruhu. Guruhu dishyati. The guru teaches. Right? That's not there, but we need to supply a one because guruhu dishyati. What does he teach? Upame. Upama is the one, is the pratipadika. Upama means example. Example. So he teaches 2 examples. Okay, now tad shabda sa te ta ha, right? So te, ye, ete, ke. Okay, te, ye, ete, ke. So Guru teaches that example. He teaches which example, teaches this example, teaches what example. Now in normal English, we would say teaches with what, but in Sanskrit, this is how you would say it. Teaches with that example. In normal English, that's how we would say it, but this is the phrasing in Sanskrit. Okay. All right. Some particulars. Number 15 is from Bhagavad Gita, Sena Yoho Madhye Tishtati, chapter 2. 17. No, not 17. 16. We haven't seen how drashta. Okay, because we skipped one pratipadika. Drashta is 1-1, a drashtr. So I'll write that. This a little smaller. So I have to add one more loop. Drashtr. There's the vowel r. Drashtr. 1-1 becomes drashta. So this is 1-1. Means the seer. I have to add aham, right? Aham's not there. That's I am the seer. So that's samanadhikaranam with I. I am the seer of those states of avastha. Waking, dream state, sleeping state, etc. Okay, that one's a hard one. Okay, let's stop here. Okay, yeah, if there's a question, go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Yes, it's a simple question. What is the difference between bhavati and asti? Is there any difference? When do we use bhavati and when do we use asti?
Yeah, it's funny actually when Panini gives the definition of what asti is. He said, us, bhuvi. So he gives, us means is bhu dhatu. And bhu sattayam. Bhu is us dhatu. So they're
difference.
basically the same thing. Yeah, there's no difference.
Okay, I got it.
Bhu sattayam. Yeah, it's funny how he uses the two to define each other, which is interesting. You don't see that usually. Okay, we're going to do a hard shift to something that I don't want to leave out. So what I want to do is open the Sandhi book. Open the Sandhi book. You can look in the index for murdhanyatvam. Okay. We might not finish this. That's okay. I just really wanted to plant this seed. I've been waiting to do this for a little while. So you're going to open your book. This is around page, let's say, no, I don't have, my page numbers are a little bit different. So it's number 9 in the, right, we're doing consonant sandhi. When you find that page, please put it in the chat.
71.
Page 71, thank you. Page 71. Page 71. So page 71 looks like this, murdhanyatvam. So we are starting consonant sandhi. Now, consonant sandhi is, I would say it's more difficult than vowel sandhi. So how generally we start teaching or start learning this consonant sandhi is, let's learn things that are useful first. More useful. Everything is useful, but let's learn things that are more useful than others, right? We've seen murdhanyatvam here and there, but we can start going into it, right? Because we see this a lot. Generally, when we look at the sandhi in the book, you'll see this here. This is not really for us right now, right? This is the actual what Panini Muni wrote for the rule, right? This is the rule he gave in the he gave, right, in the Ashtadhyayi about how this rule is applied. To even read the rule in a particular way requires some skill. So usually we can skip that, and usually these numbers are not going to be meaningful until we learn the sutra, okay? Which we will at some point. We'll come back around to this. What is murdhanya, right? Murdhanya is when your tongue is retroflex, when your tongue goes up. So murdhanyatvam is making your tongue go up. Your tongue should hit the top. So this murdhanya shakara is the substitute in the place of sakara, right? So shanmuksha replaces saraswati sa when this sa is a replacement, an adesha, or it is a part of a pratyaya. Right now, this is what's important. You can underline that part there. Part of a pratyaya. So you see this sa as adesha or sa pratyaya. Then this is important that sakara is preceded by in or ku. Ku is kavarga. And the sa is not at the end of the pada, can't be at the end of the pada. This one that's going to be replaced, it has to have something after it. Okay, this seems like a lot, but this is something we're going to see over and over again. So don't worry about that. Sa is part of the pratyaya. It is going to be preceded by in or kavarga, and it's not at the end of a pada. So what is in? Right? Handily, I have the Maheshwara Sutra. In, we take E And do you notice how there's two na? When we say in, it always going to refer to this second nakara. Okay. So what you want to write is all vowels and semivowels with hakara. So all vowels plus semivowels. And then you have to write plus ha. Because ha is technically not a vowel or a semivowel, it's its own person. Okay? And what is ku? Ku is ka varga. So ka, ka, ga, ga, nga. That whole first line that you learn in the alphabet is ka varga. So this is what you want to put in here. We'll pick up from here in our next class. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Something I should have mentioned is that we see this generally in 7-3. Right? Su becomes Shu, Rameshu. Hari Su becomes Hari Shu. So just to note why this is useful, I said it's useful because we've seen it so many times already.
One quick question.
Yes. Go ahead.
In the last class, you showed some notes at the beginning of the class and you said it is